Be honest, this month, have you made 10 applications, 30 applications, 100 applications? Right, so how many of those applications generated interviews? Exactly. It's not a good number. And what if I told you you're playing the wrong game? There are people who are actually getting insane results, like Vaibhav stopped applying completely and started focusing on conversations. He spoke to 13 people, had 5 interviews, and ended up with 3 offers, one of which was in his dream company, a London Stock Exchange Group. Didn't make an application, just spoke to people. You see, your application process looks a little bit like this. This is a very conservative number, by the way. 1,000 applications, 200 people are shortlisted, 5 people are interviewed, and 1 person is offered a position. That's a 0.1% chance for every 1,000 applications. Now, the problem is most jobs are generating 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 applications, which diminishes this chance even more. So this is the game you're playing, and this is the reason it's not converting into offers. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you how to get multiple offers without actually applying, but actually having conversations with the right people, the right decision makers. You want to get more than one offer because you want to accept the best one by comparison. The wrong company could offer you the job and you feel forced to accept it. With this process, getting 3 offers, you know what you're expecting, what you're accepting, and what you can do by comparison. You can then negotiate a better salary. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Sound good? Let's get started. So here's an example of Microsoft. Microsoft is hiring, and there's 2 applicants that they're considering giving an opportunity to. We have applicant number 1 who has 100% of the experience, but their fit is about 23%. And by fit, I mean company culture, work style, career progression, personality, all these different things that are more important sometimes than just experience. Then we have another applicant who has 49% of experience, but they're a better fit. They're 77%. Their company culture fits better. Their soft skills are better. They'll fit in with the team better. They actually want to work in Microsoft. Who do you think Microsoft accepts? Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page. Now, for Microsoft, it's easier to accept the person who has less experience but a better fit because it's easier to build the experience. It's impossible to change the company culture and you being a fit for the company and wanting to work there rather than having the experience. So Microsoft will make a decision that better suits an investment. Where most of you are going wrong is you feel that you have to have 100% experience and the fit isn't important. I would argue that the fit is probably more important than the experience. Now, what does the fit actually mean? Company culture, soft skills, work style, personality traits. Every company has a specific company culture. You have very different soft skills. Your work style could be hybrid, in office, fractional, whatever it is, and you have specific personality traits. There's also quite a few different things to add on to this, but let's just keep it simple with these 4. Now, you're very unique as a person, and you want to join a company for a particular reason, and that company wants to hire you for more than your just experience or lack of. They're going to look at these different things. Now, it's very difficult to say and show these things in a resume or a CV, and that becomes pretty difficult to show why you should be the right fit. Now, your resume is limiting you to an ATS, a software, hard experience or lack of, and you don't really have a fair shake. So we want to move away from that. Now, this is the metrics that people use when they apply. So if you remember the funnel example, application has 0.47% acceptance, turning into an interview. Recommendation, if somebody knows you exist and they recommend you to a role and you get an interview, you have a 44% chance. Invitation, if they know you exist via your LinkedIn profile or you've started to network with people, they could invite you to apply, even if you've never heard of them. You have a 71% chance of getting an offer. Your application is 0.5%, carrying on from the presentation that I showed you with the funnel. Recommendation and invitation, this is where you want to be. So think of this as level 1, level 2, level 3. If you're on application, level 1, you don't have much of a chance, and you've probably been experiencing this for a while. Recommendation, you've got a better chance. This is where most people get jobs. Invitation, this is where most people get multiple offers, and they're very good offers because they're optimized for their profile. Now, here's Morgan. Morgan had 5 offers in 5 weeks. He had 25 conversations. He stopped applying completely. Morgan reached out to me because he was applying for 6 months. He was a teacher, wanted to get into wealth management, got into St. James Place. Wealth management was arguably the hardest company to get into in the UK when you're looking at financial services without experience. They hired him because of his company culture fit. Now, how do you reach out to people to show your company culture fit, your soft skills, your work style, who you are as a person? Well, I've got some metrics, and these are going to improve the way you actually think about outreach and how you actually do it. Emailing, you have a 0.3% chance. Not great. InMail, you have a 3% chance. InMail is when you go on LinkedIn, you have 5 of these a month, you reach out to 5 people, you tell a story about how amazing you are, and then you don't get a reply. And then you think networking doesn't work. How am I going to be able to explain my process and who I am to a company I want to work for when 3% of people are going to reply? 5 people, 3% of that is practically zero. But there's something else. There's something else that gets 20%. 20% conversion, 20% of people should come back to you, respond to you, give you some feedback, give you a meeting, give you a recommendation. So what is that 20%? How does that work? Well, I introduce you to ad notes. Ad notes are amazing. They are the mechanism of LinkedIn that most people don't know about. So when you attempt to connect with someone on LinkedIn, you have an opportunity to send an ad note. It's a 300-character message, and it improves the chances of you getting an acceptance. Now, this is what it looks like. You click on a profile, you click on connect. Now, you're shown the first box on the left. Add a note to your invitation. If you click add a note, it shows you the box on the right-hand side. The box on the right-hand side gives you that 300-character limit. Now, if you have LinkedIn Premium, you can send 20 of these per day. So imagine sending 20 ad notes to people who have decision-making ability in your target companies. Now, this is not just applying for jobs. This is dealing with decision makers, people who do the job that you want to do, people who have an influence over the hiring decisions of the job you want to do, the head of HR, the hiring manager, the HR business partner, the CFO, the COO, cross-functional stakeholders. You can message quite a few different people, but you have an opportunity to get an acceptance. Now, what do you say in these messages? I'm going to show you what not to say. Any jobs, don't send that. The moment you send something like, hey, any jobs, I'm interested in applying, you sound like every other person who sends an email, an InMail, or even if they know about ad notes, a message that hopefully will get them hired. This doesn't work. Equally, do not send this message. Hi, name. I'm extremely passionate about spreadsheets. I love them. I live for them. I'm amazing at them. Trust me. Here's my education as proof. I'm also very hardworking and motivated. This message has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I would like to continue paying my bills. Now, okay, this is a bit of a parody. You're not going to send a message like this, but every message you send that says, hey, this is me, this is my academics, this is my experience, this is what I do, I'm amazing, please hire me, it sounds like this message. And nobody wants to hear that. Nobody will take you seriously. So what do you send? Well, before I show you what you do send, I want to show you why it's important to send a particular type of message. Here's an analogy of a door. Now, you can either knock on the door like a normal human being, or you can use a baseball bat. Now, if you knock on a door, you've got a higher chance of that person opening the door. If you try to open the door with a baseball bat, they're probably going to call the police and ignore you, right? This is exactly what I mean by the previous messages. Hi, I'm amazing. Please hire me. This is how amazing I am. I'm hardworking, motivated. You're using a baseball bat. So what is the knock? How does that work? Hi, name. I can see you're the hiring manager. It would be great to connect. That's it. That's your knock on the door. Now, your knock on the door isn't really there to get them to hire you. It's there to get you accepted. Okay, so the moment you get accepted, you need to provide a step 2 message, which is providing context. So you're not still networking. You're actually starting the process of networking. You're starting the process of conversations. This is where it starts to begin, but we're not technically there yet. So what do you send in a step 2 message? The moment they accept, they sort of open a door, they accept you, and then they think, well, how can I help? Why did you connect? What do you want? You have to provide some context. Now, again, you remember this message. I'm extremely passionate about spreadsheets. This message has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I'd like to continue paying my bills. Now's not the time to start going by default of selling yourself. Don't send this type of message. You want to provide a little bit of context with a very easy to answer question. So thanks for connecting, name. I'm just about to submit an application. Wanted to ask, when it comes to successful hires, do you place more of an emphasis on soft skills or company culture fit? Now, you notice from the soft profile page, we're starting to edge into what this actually is. So soft skills or company culture. If we break down this step 2 message, we're asking a question. It's quite apparent that we're talking about hiring. We're not selling a product. We're talking about a job. Now, soft skills or company culture, imagine somebody responding to you and answering that question. that's where the conversation begins. Okay, so that's where the real qualification happens, and that's where we really want to be. Now, is this networking? No, this is sending messages that get micro compliances. So add note, connection, step two, context, response. You're starting to get someone to actually interface with you. Imagine stopping someone on the street and saying, hey, will you marry me? Even if you want to marry that person, you find them attractive, or you want a relationship with them, you've just met them. You need to slow down. That's how most of you are networking. It doesn't really work that way. So you have to take the context a little bit more seriously. Now, the moment you get a reply to the step two message, your reply to their reply, this is where networking and conversations actually begin. What if they start pushing you back? What if you get the usual responses that you probably are used to? Please apply online. You don't have enough experience. I'm not the right person. Or a million other things that they could say. They might literally push you back and tell you to go away in a professional way. So what do? Well, I have a technique called looping. Now, looping is about moving the conversation forward in a positive way. You want to be able to handle the objection. So if it's please apply online, you want to say, thank you so much for coming back to me. I can confirm I've applied. Now, while I still have your attention, the soft skill question, would you say soft skills are more important, or would there be a personality trait that makes applicants more successful? Now, if you get a reply to that objection, the conversation continues forward. The more likely the conversation continues forward, the more likely it will turn into something. That application might get shortlisted. What if they say you don't have enough experience? Well, that's exactly why I've reached out. I want to know what experience is required to be considered for this role, and what opportunity there could be to allow me to build that experience. Now, you might get a reply of someone saying, well, there's another opportunity that you could apply to that will be a better fit, and then you have an interview. Some people might literally say, look, I'm not the right person, and that's fine. Not a lot of people are, but you can then say, well, who do you recommend that I reach out to? And that gives you the next step of moving forward. Way too many people stop at please apply online. Nothing happens, but you want to continue that conversation. And the reason you want to continue it is because you want to go for something I call the Trident. And the Trident is having 3 opportunities that can come from every interaction, every conversation, from the type of person you want to reach out to. So I want you to imagine you ask for an informational call. You can effectively say, look, thank you so much for your reply on the soft skills. I'm pleased to hear you say that. That's a soft skill I have. Do you have 5 minutes to discuss my profile and if it's worthy of a recommendation? Now, you might get a yes, you might get a no, but if you don't ask, you don't get. And if you do ask and you get a yes, you have a meeting that will very, very easily turn into an interview if handled the right way. Now, what if they say no? Then you go down the next path, which is asking for a recommendation. You can effectively say, look, no problem at all. You're a busy person. Who do you recommend that I reach out to who may have more time to have a meeting? And then they give you a name. Maybe it's a hiring manager. Maybe it's the real decision maker. What if they say no to that? Then you can ask for some intel. You can say, look, I've started to network and I appreciate that you get tons of applications and I want to know if I'm going to be the right fit. What advice could you give me to be taken more seriously when making applications, but more importantly, when reaching out to real decision makers? You will be shocked at the intel you get from people. They'll tell you about projects, they'll tell you about soft skills, they'll tell you about who to reach out to, they'll tell you about all these different things, and more importantly, they'll take you more seriously. So this is something you want to start thinking about. Just before you go, wanted to show you how to Job Plus. If you want to realize some of these things that I've spoken about in this video, where you want to have real conversations with the real people, this platform will teach you how to do that. Now, we have different methodologies of different types of titles of people you can reach out to. So what to say to a head of HR, what to say to a HR business partner, what to say to a CEO, what to say to someone who's actually a senior decision maker for that type of role. And we do that through daily practical tasks. You have to learn this stuff, though. It's nothing that you can chat GPT or Claude your way into. You need to have real conversations with real people. We have techniques on this platform that show you how to do that. But better yet, once you join our platform, there's 50 questions as a questionnaire you answer and you upload your resume. Once you do that, our team of researchers, as well as our agents, are able to understand your profile much better and then give you a breakdown of target roles, job titles, industries, as well as experience points of how to change it on your LinkedIn and your resume, top 100 companies. You've got your LinkedIn headline and your bio. You have different conversation points of soft skills, networking prompts when you're actually having conversations, what your profile should speak about. So if you're an international job seeker, you talk about sponsorship and soft skills and company culture. If you're someone who has a lot of experience, you talk about company culture and then personality traits. So it breaks down how to do that. We also have a resume builder on the platform as well. So once you join our platform, not only does the platform know everything about your professional career, it actually helps you recreate a much better ATS optimized resume. None of the AI slop you're probably using with agentic AI models. Our process is more on our process as well as your profile. So we break that down, which is really nice. But then once you do that, how do you know what you're doing on a Monday, what you're doing on a Tuesday, or Wednesday, or Thursday, or Friday? Well, we break everything down on the actual platform. Daily tasks that you can do to reach out to the right people to know what you need to do. Now, we also have an agent that understands your profile. So anytime you have something like this, I mean, I've quickly written this, someone has replied, asked me what role I'm looking for, what do I say? Because it understands your profile. It'll tell you what to say, how to say, and it'll ask you more questions to actually help you network much better. So you have everything you need on the How to Job Plus platform. Now, the average user on our platform gets multiple offers in 6 weeks if they use it for half an hour a day. If you want to learn more about this, link in the description, book a call with us and the team, and then we'll take it from there. See you on the next one.